Her cheating sex leaked online, and she insisted she was just experimenting, but I knew she was cheating for real. I was sitting on my couch in old sweatpants, half watching some YouTube video and half scrolling Reddit when my friend Liam sent me a link on Instagram with just, "Bro, is this her?" I clicked it, thinking it was going to be some meme or maybe a picture that vaguely looked like my girlfriend. Instead, it was a messy little exposing cheaters account that I'd always assumed was fake drama. The first screenshot loaded slow because my Wi-Fi is trash, and then there it was, her face in the corner, her username, and messages I knew damn well I hadn't sent. Stuff like, "I've been thinking about your hands all day," and "I can't wait to feel you again." My stomach literally flipped. My fingers went numb around my phone. My brain did that thing where it just fuzzed out. It was a Tuesday night. We'd been together a little over 3 years, living together for almost 2. I'm 29, she's 27. I'll call her Emily, because using her real name makes me feel weirdly sick. Up until about 2 weeks ago, I was one of those people who would have told you, hand on heart, that she was the last person who would cheat. She was vocal about hating cheaters, would go off on long rants about how, if you want someone else, just leave. I'd sat beside her on this same couch while she paused some TV show and yelled at a fictional character, "Just break up with him first, you coward." So yeah, I feel like an idiot. The screenshots were from Snapchat and Instagram DMs. I recognized the selfies she'd sent. Same black tank top I loved on her, same fairy lights in our bedroom, the same slightly chipped nail polish she'd had last month. The timestamps were from back when she'd told me she was too tired for anything and in a funk sexually. Meanwhile, she was sending stuff like, "I'm so soaked thinking about last time," to some dude whose username I'd never seen before. I just stared at my phone for a while, long enough that Liam double-texted, "Dude, I'm so sorry if that's really her." My first reaction wasn't anger. It was disbelief mixed with this weird floating feeling in my chest, like my insides had become helium. I typed back, "Yeah, that's her. Then, I'll talk to you later." My heart was pounding, but the rest of me felt slow, like I was underwater. I kept zooming in on the screenshots as if getting closer would make them fake. Same wallpaper I helped her pick. Same little freckle near her collarbone. Same way she tilted her head when she was trying to look coy. I don't know how long I sat there before I called her. She picked up on the third ring, sounding distracted. "Hey, what's up? I'm just finishing up closing. Can I call you back?" She works at a bar/restaurant. Late nights, drunks, all that. Normal. I've never had a problem with it. I trusted her. "Are you busy?" I asked. My voice sounded wrong. Too calm. There was a pause. "Yeah? We've got like a dozen tables left." "Okay," I said. "When you're on your break, I need you to look at Instagram. I'm sending you something." Another pause. "Why? What is it?" "You'll see, babe," she said, that warning tone creeping in. "Just call me when you've seen it." I hung up before she could say anything else. My hands were shaking so hard, I nearly dropped the phone. I screenshotted the screenshots, Meta, I know, and sent them to her with, "Is there anything you want to tell me before I assume the worst?" Then I paced. Our apartment suddenly felt too small. I kept seeing little versions of her from the last months layered over everything. The way she'd gone quiet after checking her phone, the nights she'd turned away from me in bed saying, "I just don't feel sexy lately." The long trips to the bathroom with her phone in hand. There had been other signs I'd ignored. About 6 months ago, she started talking about spicing things up. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. She bought new lingerie, sent me a couple of flirty selfies while I was at work. It felt exciting and fun, like we were leveling up. Then the conversation shifted. She brought up sexting as this concept. "Do you think you could ever get into, like, dirty texting?" she asked one night, half laughing, half hopeful. I shrugged. "I mean, we live together. I can just walk into the next room and annoy you in person." She rolled her eyes. "I don't mean with me, dummy. I mean like, in general. People who do that. Do you think it's cheating?" I remember thinking it was a weirdly abstract question, but I didn't want to be the jealous, controlling boyfriend. If you're doing it with someone outside your relationship and your partner doesn't know or agree. I said, "Yeah, that's cheating." She went quiet for a second, then forced out a laugh. "Right? Yeah, obviously." Looking back, that was probably the first little test balloon she sent up. I should have paid more attention to how deflated she looked after my answer. Anyway, 20 minutes after I sent her the screenshots, my phone started buzzing again and again. Emily calling. I let it ring the first time. I wanted her to sit in it. I know that sounds petty, but my chest felt like it was physically burning. On the second call, I picked up. Hey, I said. She didn't say hello. She went straight into, it's not what it looks like. Her voice was already shaky, like she'd been crying or was about to. Cool, I said, hearing how dead my voice sounded. Because it looks like you've been sexting random guys behind my back. They're not random, she blurted, and then went silent. I actually laughed. Not sure that's the defense you want to go with. I mean, we never met up, she said quickly. I swear to God, I never met up with anyone. It was just messages. I was experimenting. I didn't think anyone would ever see those screenshots. Not the point, I said. At all. She started talking faster, words tumbling over each other. It was stupid, okay? I've been feeling weird about my body. I haven't felt attractive, and I got sucked into this thing. It was like roleplay, like a game. I didn't think of it as real. I love you. I never planned to leave you. I walked into our bedroom while she talked. The bed was unmade, her hoodie thrown over the chair, her perfume still hanging faintly in the air. And all I could see in my head was that screenshot of her in our mirror, bra half visible, sending it to someone who wasn't me. Emily, I said, you're literally sending explicit messages and pictures to other men. That is cheating. There was a long silence. I didn't think of it that way, she whispered. Well, you're going to have to start, I said. When are you coming home? My shift ends at midnight, she said. Can we please talk about this in person? Please. Yeah, I said. We'll talk. I barely remember the hours between that call and her walking through the door. I know I turned the TV off at some point because the noise was driving me insane. I know I tried to eat a slice of leftover pizza and ended up just staring at it. I know I checked the exposure account again and saw new comments piling up. People calling her trash, whore, laughing. My throat closed up. I hated them for being right. Around 12:20, the lock clicked. She walked in, hair pulled back, makeup slightly smudged, eyes red. She had her bar uniform sweatshirt tied around her waist. She shut the door gently, like being quiet would make it less real. Hey, she said softly. I didn't say anything. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop open, the screenshots framed on the screen. I turned it toward her. Who are they? I asked. She winced like the screen had physically hit her. Just people, she mumbled. Guys from online. How long? She shifted her weight from foot to foot. A few months, she said finally. Maybe 6? It doesn't. Time blurs, I don't know. 6 months, I repeated. Half a year. She looked miserable. I know how it sounds, she said. But it got away from me. At first it was just. I made a fake account on this site, just to see if anyone would even flirt with me. Then someone did. And it felt good. Like, seeing those messages. Then another guy. And I started playing into it. Sending stuff. I thought of it like fanfiction, almost. Like writing a character who wasn't really me. That is really you, I said. In those pictures. In that mirror. You're wearing the underwear I bought you for our anniversary. Her face crumpled. I know, she said, voice breaking. I hate myself for it, okay? I hate that it's out there now. I hate that I hurt you. The part where you hate yourself doesn't actually help me, I said. She pulled out a chair and sat down across from me, hands twisting in her lap. I never met them, she said again. I swear to God. I know that doesn't erase anything, but it's the truth. It was all just over the phone. Text. Pics. I always made sure my face wasn't fully in anything too explicit. I was careful. Careful, I said, incredulous. You leaked enough that people recognized you. She flinched. I meant more like. I thought I could keep it separate. Then one of them got mad when I stopped replying as much. I think he's the one who sent the screenshots to that account. I never thought he'd actually. You never thought, I said. That seems to be a pattern. We sat in silence for a bit. The fridge hummed. Someone in the apartment above us dropped something heavy. She sniffled and wiped her nose with her sleeve. Why wasn't I enough? I asked finally. The words surprised me as they came out, small and pathetic. That wasn't the angle I'd meant to take, but it was the one that hurt the most. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. This wasn't about you not being enough, she said. You've always been good to me. I was spiraling, okay? I gained weight during lockdown. My clothes fit different. I go to work and guys hit on the 20-year-old servers and call me ma'am now. I felt invisible. I started following body-positive accounts, but it didn't stick. And then I found this forum where people post anonymous confessions, And someone mentioned how they sex strangers just to feel wanted, and it sounded stupid, but also tempting. I finished. She nodded miserably. At first I just lurked. Then I made a burner account. I didn't even show my face at first. Just words. And guys were still into it. They told me I was sexy just based on how I wrote. It messed with my head. It was like validation on tap. And I got hooked. I know that's not an excuse, but it's what happened. So your solution to insecurity, I said slowly, was to go outside the relationship and build a secret world where you were the main character and I didn't exist. She winced again. When you say it like that, there isn't really another way to say it. She reached across the table then, fingers inching toward mine. I pulled my hands back into my lap. I love you, she said quietly. I never stopped. Not once. I never told them about you. I never used your name. It was like this fucked up compartment in my brain. And then it started leaking. I wanted to stop, but every time I tried, I'd feel gross and ugly and I'd go back for one more hit of validation. I know that's messed up. Why didn't you talk to me? I asked. About feeling ugly. About wanting more. I don't know. Spice. Sex. Whatever. We could have worked on that together. You didn't even give me the chance. She looked at me the way you look at a dog you've accidentally stepped on. Because I didn't want you to know how messed up I felt. I didn't want you to see me as desperate. I see you as a liar now, I said bluntly. Desperate was the lesser evil. She flinched like I'd slapped her. For a second I hated myself. Then I remembered her telling some guy, I wish it was your hands instead, and any softness evaporated. We talked, or tried to, until almost 3 a.m. It was a lot of the same beats. She apologized, cried, told me she'd delete everything, go to therapy, hand over passwords, quit her job if she had to. I sat there alternately furious, sad, numb, disgusted, and weirdly protective when she talked about the humiliation of being exposed publicly. At one point she broke down completely. Those people online, they're calling me names, they're saying I have diseases, they're saying I deserve to get doxxed, she sobbed. I'm scared. I messed up, but I don't deserve to get ruined. And here's the messed up part. Some instinct in me wanted to comfort her. To say, I've got you. We'll get through this. That's what 3 years of being someone's person does. It wires your brain to want to soothe them, even when they're the one who stabbed you. Instead, I just said, you need to remove anything you can from the internet. Contact that account and ask them to take it down. Talk to a lawyer if you have to. Whatever. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Can I sleep here? She asked. This is your apartment too. I said automatically, then corrected myself. Sleep in the bed. I'll take the couch. Laying on our lumpy couch that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to her muffled sobs through the wall, I felt like my whole life had been put in a blender. Over the next few days, she followed through on some things. She showed me as she deleted the burner accounts. She blocked the guys she'd been sexting. She contacted the exposure account, which of course didn't respond. She called a therapy practice and made an appointment. She also cried constantly, apologized constantly, hovered around me like a lost puppy. I know I fucked up, she kept saying. I know I don't deserve you. But please don't throw away what we have. We have more good than bad. It's easy to say cheaters are trash, dump them, when you're outside a situation. Inside it, everything is murkier. My memories didn't conveniently rewrite themselves. I still remembered her making me soup when I was sick, dancing with me in the kitchen, talking me through a panic attack after my dad had a heart scare. I remembered the girl who held my hand at my grandfather's funeral, who stayed up late to help me finish a work project. And now, layered over all of that, the girl who took her clothes off for strangers, who flirted while I slept in the next room. I went back and forth in my head constantly. One moment, she's disgusting. Leave. The next, she's clearly mentally spiraling. Maybe this is a cry for help. People screw up. Are you overreacting? Friends were mixed. Liam, the one who sent me the screenshots, was blunt. If she's doing that much behind your back, imagine what you don't know, he said. You really want to spend the rest of your life wondering whose DMs she's in. My sister, who's been through her own messy breakups, was more cautious. Only you know if this is something you can ever move past, she said. But don't stay because you're afraid of being alone. That's not love, that's fear. My mom surprised me. She's very old school, we work through things, been married to my dad for 35 years. When I told her, in extremely vague terms, What happened? She went quiet and then said, "Some things crack trust, some things shatter it. Only you know which this is for you." That sentence looped in my brain like bad hold music. The more I sat with it, the more I realized this wasn't a crack for me. It was shattered glass. Even in the span of a week, I noticed myself stiffen every time I saw her holding her phone. When she laughed at something on her screen, my stomach clenched. When she went to shower with her phone in hand, I felt my pulse jump. I didn't like the person I could feel myself becoming. Suspicious. Checking her social media. Considering installing tracking software like some budget FBI agent. That's not who I want to be. About 10 days after the leak, I told her I wanted to separate. We were sitting on the couch. She was curled up at the opposite end, feet tucked under her, a blanket around her shoulders even though it wasn't cold. She hadn't been sleeping well. Neither had I. There were dark circles under both our eyes. "I can't do this," I said finally. She looked up at me, panicked. "What do you mean?" "I can't unknow what I know," I said. "I can't go back to how we were. Every time you look at your phone, I feel sick. Every time you go to work at night, I imagine you texting guys in the bathroom. I don't want to spend the next however many years playing detective in my own relationship." Tears welled up instantly. "I'll show you my phone whenever you want," she said. "I'll delete everything. I'll get a dumb phone, I don't care. I'll quit my job, we can move somewhere new. I'll do anything." "That's the problem," I said. "I don't want to have to police you. I want to be with someone I don't have to think about policing. Someone I can assume isn't sending nudes to a guy whose name I don't know." She scooted nearer, desperation on her face. "We have history," she said. "We have a home. We have plans. Don't throw it all away over some stupid messages." "Stupid messages you sent repeatedly for half a year," I said. "Look, Em, I get that you're ashamed. I get that you're hurting. I don't think you're evil. I think you're deeply messed up in ways you need to deal with. But I also think I deserve to be with someone who doesn't need a secret audience to feel good about themselves." She started sobbing, full ugly cry. "I'm sorry," she choked out. "I'm so sorry." "I know," I said quietly. "And I think you mean it. That doesn't change the fact that I'm done." We went back and forth like that for a while. She begged, bargained, promised. I stayed weirdly calm, because I'd already done the panicking and crying on my own time. In the end, we agreed I'd be the one to move out. The lease was in her name originally, and my job's more flexible about where I live. I found a roommate situation through a friend within a couple of weeks. In those interim days, we existed in this weird limbo, sharing a bed but not touching, passing each other in the kitchen like roommates who'd had a fight. Sometimes I'd catch her looking at me with her face crumpling, like she wanted to say something, and I'd just turn away. On my last night there, she asked, "Can I hug you?" I hesitated, then nodded. She wrapped her arms around me like someone drowning grabbing onto driftwood. I could feel her shoulders shaking. "I really did love you," she whispered into my chest. "I still do." I swallowed hard. "I believe you," I said. "I think you loved me and cheated on me. Both can be true. And that's the part that still messes with my head. We like clean narratives. Cheaters are heartless monsters. The cheated on are pure victims. Real life is messy, eh? Emily wasn't a cartoon villain. She made me coffee, remembered my important dates, rubbed my back when I was stressed. She also sexted strangers, lied, and let something ugly inside her run wild. Now it's been a few months. I'm in a small room with mismatched furniture, my clothes in a half-broken IKEA wardrobe, my gaming console hooked up to a smaller TV. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. When my phone buzzes at night, it's my own messages, my own feed, not a portal to her double life. I still check that exposing account sometimes. Morbid curiosity, I guess. Her screenshots are buried under new scandals now. The internet moved on. I'm still catching up. I've started therapy. Because yeah, what she did was about her issues, but the way it hit me exposed my own. My therapist has me writing down the difference between "I wasn't enough" and "she was broken and chose a shitty coping mechanism." I'm not fully there emotionally, but intellectually I can see it.